Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 10th of December. So, looking at the, why I've got the pound dollar on first, I'm not so sure, but we'll have a look at that first. Well, it filled its gap last night. There was a little gap overnight. It filled that gap up pretty well and is now heading back towards where that gap was. For all intents and purposes, this 4-hourly chart shows it pretty well in terms of the continued lower highs sort of kicking through there. Overall, well, lower lows sort of from this point here. We're in this sort of muddled area since the later part of last week. I guess we haven't gone back and retested these lows yet, and it may be a point of a target point today, or this week should I say. I don't see these markets moving massively quickly, although of course tomorrow we've got the big vote for the pound, so that could create some extra volatility, and if that vote is overrules what the government's looking for, I think we could see the pound possibly sold more, although it's pretty much there now. Expected. There's no way at the moment there's any belief that the government will pass through the Brexit deal at the moment, so that's got to be priced in. However, of course, that isn't to say once it actually happens we won't see a blip. So the pound at the moment looks weak, I think, is the answer. Today, news-wise, we've got we've already had Cunliffe speaking. In that case, we've just got the GDP out at 9:30, which is now a monthly figure. It doesn't seem to be moving the market too much, but at the same time, we've got the manufacturing production data coming out. Now that's much more important. In a sense, I know it's a feeder to the GDP, so that would be more important, that particular number. So that's at 9:30. Aside of that, we've got no other news really out there in the markets, so quiet down the market front. Okay, looking at the euro dollar then, I normally start with this. Euro's pushed on through here. It started pushing on. It's tested and pulled back, and pushed through this time on the against the dollar there, looking like it may have more upside, but it's left the weekly pivot untouched below. I do wonder if that's just tested through the Asian session, sell off through the European session there. Now if it breaks where it almost has, has already hit below the low there, so it's put in effectively a lower high. And if we see this running through, I think we could see this running down towards the daily pivot and the weekly pivot. That's what I'm really looking at now. You could draw trend lines across the lows, the recent lows, but it may be worth just waiting until post 8 o'clock, see what happens. It might just have another pop up there, but I'm still got a sort of a bearish flavour to these markets. I know it's starting to maybe turn around technically on the daily picture there, and it's breaking these trends out from this wedge, etc. But we'll see. As I said, if post 8 o'clock it pops, I'll leave it for a while and see what happens. Right, okay, that's the euro dollar. We looked at the pound. Let's have a look at the dollar yen now. I believe this should have caught Charlie's target from his trading on Friday. Sold off, nice trade down towards that 100 MA. It's having a bounce from that to 100 again. It did it on Friday. It may do it, well, it has done it. Heading towards the weekly pivot at the moment. Whether it actually makes that, we'll see. But it's just not far above us. It could easily be reached. It's not lots and lots of pips. Daily pivots above us as well. Okay, we've got the 50 to 34 in the way there, but if it starts breaking through those, well, then it could carry on towards Friday's highs. Okay, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, well, last week just sold off the whole of the week in the end. Managed to, well, do a bit of a reversal through the Asian session here. It looks like we had the gap on there too, as we did. Heading up at the moment, maybe towards its weekly pivot. It had the harshest of all weeks for many of the pairings there, and sold off pretty harshly. Now Has the potential. It has the daily. We're sitting on its daily pivot, so it has the weekly pivot above. But really, it needs to get through that monthly pivot, which it struggled with over the last couple of days. Getting it went through it and couldn't really get back above it. But if it manages to push up, maybe that will reverse round 2. But at the moment, looking soft. Okay, Canadian dollar. So the Canadian dollar, well, as I said earlier in the last week, it hit the previous target that I was low, the beginning of the previous target, first area. Could still shove up here. OPEC's out of the way now. What today? It looks alright. A bit of a pig's ear in this bigger in this shorter term picture, I should say. It does look like it may continue pushing up through here, but lower highs, lower lows sitting through there. Needs to get some momentum to get me looking at the long side. It may, as I say, may just be a decent correction, and I'm sort of looking to where the correction was from on a daily point of view. Well, just short of that 21 again. But may kick up there. It's done its weekly pivot, tick that box off, and has potential to continue in this upper trend there. Okay, that's pretty much it. As I said, news wise, there's very little out there. 9:30, the key bit of news today, with GDP, and more important, I think, in the shorter terms, the manufacturing production for the UK. Have a great day. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.